ahead and work a little bit on your bullets today. So here's what I would do. You had a couple issues. One of them was you were creating your bullets from not the actual spawn point, but just from a bullet itself. So even though you had an empty that was shooting the bullets out, it wasn't, the hierarchy wasn't completely stacked the right way. So with Unity, the most important thing you have to do is make sure that your hierarchy is working in the right order, otherwise you get unpredictable results. So let me just show you the change that I made, and then if you want to play with it today, I'll try to attach the file, but I think you'll be able to figure it out. We have most of the code anyway, already to begin with. So let me just give you something to look at right here. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. This is the game that you guys that you gave me to work with. And again, like I'm looking at the hierarchy here, and as you can see, I deleted a couple of the elements. I deleted the bullet. All I kept is the bullet spawn, which was an empty, and I attached this script. I used the one that I gave you guys, the shoot script. Any of them should work. That one is just working greatly right now. So let me just show you what it's doing now, and you guys let me know if this is what you were looking at being able to accomplish. As you can see, I got one bullet at a time, even if I press F down for a while. And as you can see from the hierarchy, the bullets disappear after a little bit of time. Okay, so now let's actually take a look at what's going on behind the code. So the first thing I wanted to show you was, so I have my empty. In this empty, I have the bullet script. Okay, so let's take a look at MonoDevelop now. Inside of MonoDevelop, what I have is I took this out because that actually destroys the empty. That's why you were shooting bullets for a while and then it would disappear. The destroy, what it does is it looks like at the game object that you put in, which is a projectile. And that game object is matched here in Unity on your script. So see how you have projectile here as a public member, and that's where you can attach the bullet to it. Okay, I changed the color of the bullet as well. Let's go back up MonoDevelop. So I took that out because we definitely don't want our emitter to disappear after 10 seconds. It could be a good feature later on. What I did was the next change was to make it only make one bullet at a time. We definitely don't want it to shoot out, you know, a bunch of different bullets at once. So I went ahead and got this replaced from get key to get key down. Get key allows you to do it per second, right? Or you press it down and it just shoots like a ridiculous amount of bullets, which is kind of cool for a shot, for a, you know what I'm saying, right? A machine gun. But for an archer, we definitely want to do it per click or per button. So get key down does allow you to do that. So then we have the game object clone, same code as before, the same one I gave you. The only thing I also changed was the transform up. So instead of transform right or transform down, I went ahead and changed to transport up, because remember, your arrows are rigid body. And if you have a rigid body, what tends to happen is that you shoot them and they kind of tend to go up in gravity, right? So what happens is, so if you have an arrow, and we'll use some keys for this example, and you have them do a transform to the right, well, if there's not enough velocity, they're going to go down. So you're shooting them and then they're going down. So the velocity that you're applying is just slightly. Now, if I do one up, then you get this nice curvature in there, kind of like the archer would. So I went ahead and shifted it to up. And that's where we're getting a little bit of a different result there. All right. So let's take a look at that again. Okay, so we're back on Unity now. And you can see that what I did was from MonoDevelop, I changed it to up, so that way we can go up and to speed, which is 15. And then we want to destroy those clones, because we definitely don't want hanging around. So the way destroy works is that you want to grab the whole clone game object. So you don't want to just grab the instance of the rigid body. You don't want to say just destroy projectile or destroy game object. You want to destroy that one instance that you created. We could, of course, make a list. We can do it a bunch of different ways, but I think the easiest way to go about it is to just destroy the actual clone .game object after 3 seconds. And you can change that argument. So if you wanted to hang out in the screen a little bit longer, you can. Since you guys don't really have the way your character moves is, I think it's just moving around the level. I don't think there's an actual ground for it to stick on, right? So And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not really sure what the mechanic is on this. I don't know if you guys have like a flat plane on the background and that's the way it's sitting on. I haven't really taken a look. I don't think I saw any colliders on your actual level. Yeah, there's no colliders, so we're just kind of floating in space. And the only thing that is able to move around is a bullet. So the bullet's the only thing that will have a collider, and it's only going to react to when there's a hidden enemy. So another thing that I would advise you guys to work on is to maybe make colliders around the level so that your character doesn't disappear, right? So we probably add a collider right here somehow and clamp the player in a way. And there's probably a bunch of multiple ways to do that. So we'll explore that next. But for now, let's get some enemies in there. Let's put some colliders on them and let's see if we can do that. Last thing that I'd like you guys to change is using prefabs. So I did see that you had a prefab on there, but the prefab was empty. So now this new prefab, we can use it. And the way the prefab works is that, let me give it a better name than that. So for me, we pull the prefab, right? And that's where I copied this bullet over. So to create a prefab, just like, you go to game object, component, and so you guys might have to help me out with that. Somewhere in the right, not physics, it is game object. So game object, 2D object. All right, so I'm striking out again. I was just playing with those earlier. Okay, so if you go through the list, I'm sure you find it. All right, so add yourself a prefab, wherever those live. There we go, create prefab. That's the way I got it last time. So you get your prefab in there, and once you have your prefab, you want to drag, the actual bullet asset into the prefab. So it goes to create a new one, right? So I go to create, I make myself a prefab. This new prefab doesn't have anything in there. It's just kind of like hanging out, it's empty. But what you can do is you can drag it over here. Man. Let me see if I open it, what happens here. We'll go like this. Oh, there we go. Okay. So you drag it over, then you have this new prefab. So you drag it over to the actual prefab, not the inspector. And once you have it, you can change the way it looks. So if you wanted like an arrow to be a different color, you can, or add a sprite to it, a different color, right? You can add particles, your rigid body. In this case, you could add, all kinds of cool things to it. But the point is that you go back to your character or your empty that has a shooting script, and then instead of just shooting a bullet, which is this, we can have it do a prefab instead. Okay. I mean, you're not going to really see a difference right now, but it does, the way that it works. The prefab you can modify, so you're not messing up the original that was in your asset. Prefab also allows you to add more things to it without, again, modifying that original that you have. So if you wanted to have different prefabs for it, I think that's the best way to go about it. And as you can tell, nothing changes. You don't have to change anything in your code because you're referring to the prefab from here. You're linking it to here. And this is what the projectile is being mapped on. That's a game object component. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow. If you guys have questions, I'll continue working on the AI and any other things that you guys have questions with. Be good for the sub and best of luck. All right, catch you guys later.